Hello and welcome to the Queen's Couch Podcast with our amazing host, Dr. Tyniko Victoria. She curates a space for women where all women are encouraged to collaborate and do not collide. Join us on the couch tonight.
Well, hello, and we are here for the kickoff of season 2 of the Queen's Couch podcast. So if you are joining us, welcome. It is a celebration. It is our 1 year anniversary. Woo! And I am excited to have you share in not only this amazing podcast for season 2, but the cat is out the bag, my book launch. So you'll be able to pre-order my book tonight. And so I wanted to start off our season 2 bringing back one of our most loved guests. I got the most ratings for this guest, and she is back to kick off season 2. We're going to chop it up on the couch. And so we are excited to have you join us today. So I introduce to you, listen, none other than Dr. Cooper. She is already known on the couch. How are you tonight, Dr. Cooper?
My good friend, my sister, Dr. Tyniko. I am absolutely fabulous. I feel wonderful. I feel honored and I am excited. First of all, for you inviting me to be your first guest for 2025, but also to celebrate your 1 year anniversary on top of the launch of your book. So I am ecstatic to be able to share this opportunity with you. And I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much. So listen, when you came on the podcast, you told an amazing story about how you got where you are. And so listen, so let's talk about what's going on with Dr. Cooper. How has it been? How has 2024 treated you? And how is 2025? We're in the 23rd day treating you. How is it coming along?
Wow. Well, 2024 was a very interesting year. I've been hearing so many people, and coming out of 2024, there were so many people who continuously said that it was a hard year for them, that they went through so much. And I'm just the type of person that sometimes I go through things and I'm the last one to realize that I'm going through something. And so I call last year very interesting because God literally gave all of us an opportunity to take a break, to reflect, to relax, and to reset to get ready for what's about to happen in 2025. So 2025 has come in and I'm taking a slow pace. I'm taking slow steps. I'm going piece by piece, step by step, day by day. And I don't want to make a move unless I know it's coming from heaven's gate. So I'm just excited about what's to come. I am literally planning to walk out this year by faith and not by sight. I'm not going to get caught up with what I see, but I'm just going to listen to what God says.
Yes, that is it. I listening to what God says. I get this question all the time. When they say, "Why did you start this podcast?" Well, you were my inspiration. And I remember you were doing a podcast, and you said, "I want you to be my guest," and I'm like, "Okay, what do I have to say?" That kind of emerged, and I kept thinking, we would do together. Dr. Cooper and I have a group um, called the Girlfriend Circle of Influence, and so we do these fireside chats, and so that's kind of where all kind of came together. We started doing these fireside chats. We started chatting. We started coming on the couch together, and so that's how it all started. And when I said I think I want to do a podcast, and I told you, what was your thoughts? What did you think? You was like, I said, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it, sister. I'm gonna do this podcast.
My thoughts were I was excited because I'm that big sister that like sees things in people, and I just wait for you to say it, and then I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader all the way through. You are just a person that is so open and vibrant, and you actually care about people. So in order for you to have a platform that you can bring the people in and have open conversations with them to hear their hearts, I already knew that you were going to be successful, but I was super excited. And all I could say was another opportunity to be a cheerleader for my sister, because what I've seen in you since we've met, that everything that you put your hands to, God blows on it and blesses it. But then it becomes a blessing to God's people. So I'm just excited that we are here 1 year later.
Yes, 1 year later. So I know you've watched the podcast. What show do you think um that you remember the most?
Oh my goodness. When you had your pastor on the show, when you hear the heart of a woman of God, and you hear women of God open up and share so much about themselves, because oftentimes people will look at a finished product and have no idea what it took to get to where you are, and how just because you are in a certain place and position, people see you in a certain level, but they have no idea of the warfare. They have no idea of the weight that you have to carry. They have no idea about the things that happen behind the scenes that nobody gets to see except the ones that are closest to you. And so when I see women who carry their mantle in grace, and they are graceful and they know how to love, like these are the women that I aspire to be like. Okay, I'm over 50, but at the end of the day, I am always a work in progress, and I'm a lifetime student. And being a servant leader, I love the heart of a leader, because I get to learn and glean. And I know, coming in contact with many leaders, some will teach you how to act and some will teach you how not to act. So that one was very, very near and dear to my heart, because it gave me an opportunity to just see her in a different light.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite, having my spiritual father on the podcast and just having him to be able to be on, just watching, he experienced some challenges, and just watching him come back and to be able to say, I could have you on this podcast. And because in every area of my life, this is the person that has been pushing me. When I say, hey, I'm gonna do something, they be like, all right, God's gonna make it happen. And so just to be able to have him on was just an honor. And not only to be on there with me, but just for him to be on there with my brothers, my fellow brothers, his spiritual sons. It was a great podcast. And so I'm excited about that podcast. It was one of my favorites. I would probably, let's see. I don't know. My second favorite podcast
Which
was
one?
when I had my mentor on,
Oh my goodness.
which is your spiritual father.
Listen,
My
oh my goodness.
mentor is what's the word I would say? He pushes me
Mm.
to be a great individual. He um pushes me to go for things that I never thought I could go for. So sometimes when I'm shying back, he'll say, I don't see you engaging. I don't see you doing what you need to do. So that was probably one of my favorite podcasts. And being able to just kind of talk about what it means to be a mentor, what it means to be a father. And so many times people always say, but men, they need a father, but women need a father too. And when women have fathers in their lives, it allows them to go places and have a certain type of confidence that some women who may not have those men in their lives don't feel. Because when you feel like you have that male figure backing you, pushing you, they have your back, it kind of makes you go further. When you see this girl and they say, man, she's daddy's girl and she's spunky and she's out there, this little 5 or 6 or 7-year-old girl, you just see her taking over the crowd. That's because it's because of the love of her father. She knows that if she messes up, daddy's gonna come pick her up. Daddy's gonna hug her. Daddy's gonna tell her it's okay. And so being able to have a platform where people can see that women need fathers just as much as men need them too has been important to me. You know, I don't want to ever have a podcast for women and we don't have men, because there's no women without men and there's no men without women. And so I'm a person that brings us together because we're all in this together. We need each other. Men need women, women need men. I know we're in this independent age and you know, I don't need a man. Well, no, I need a man. Now I'm not even lie and tell y'all that, because I hate pumping my gas. I hate taking out the trash. I hate doing a lot of things. And so I'm not going to say that I'm Miss Independent. I have divorced her. I am Miss Submissive, ready to be taken care of. I'm into my femininity now. So yes, I will admit, Tyniko needs a man in her life. That's just the bottom line.
I'm not gonna argue with you, sister. I'm definitely not. We've had this conversation before. And as single women out here in these streets, single, anointed, and appointed women out here in these streets, it is very important for a good, wholesome covering. And we can have it with our spiritual fathers, we can have it with our pastors, we can have it, you know, with people in our family, but it is something different when God sends your person, the person that he strategically has placed aside just for you because he knows what his daughters need. How does he know? Because he has raised us up in this season to be women of God, not to settle for less. And so, because our daddy loves us, I know our daddy is already working behind the scenes. And I always say, for me, this is me. The man is probably ready. God still has me on the potter's wheel. So I'll take full responsibility that, Lord, I want you to make me over so that I'm ready for my blessing, because he already said that the man's going to find favor with the Lord when he finds me. But I
That's
want to be a
right.
blessing to the man of God.
That is correct. Listen, you're gonna find that favor. So tell me, what are you hoping to see on this podcast this year? What are you hoping to see in season 2? What are some things you're hoping to see?
Listen, in season 2, because we both have changed since our first day on your podcast. We both have changed so much over the course of 2024. When we started out, we had no idea what God was going to do in our lives in 2024, and we've gone through some things together, and I thank God for that. You have to have a goal friend in this season, whether you're male or female. You've got to have goal friends, people who literally want to see you reach your goals, and they're going to push you if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So what I would like to see is you continue to open up your couch and have people to come and sit down, and those that are willing to get poured into, but also those that are going to pour into you. This is the season for us to get everything that we need. There has been a lot of changes that took place between December and January. Okay. Last week, there was a lot that happened. This week, on Monday, there was a lot that happened on MLK Day. And so, because we are at the cusp of 2025, it's going to be so pivotal that whatever it is that we do, whoever it is that we connect with, any place that we go, that we make sure that it is God ordained so that God can sustain it. So, I just want to see more of you push. I want to see you push yourself to live. You've launched your book. Hello, more of you pushing.
Oh
Because
God.
I know what it feels like to be a pusher. But when I see my sister's wings come out of the cocoon, like I'm sitting here, like you said, I um helped you birth your podcast. Now my sister has pushed out her. This is your second book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we were both a part of an anthology, but this is
Mhm.
your book. So
Yeah.
now my sister is pushing me to get my book out. So that's the thing about a goal friend. We see each other, we're setting goals, we're reaching them, but we're making sure that we're not doing it alone. We are pulling each other. So I want to see you continue to shine, but also lead as the leader that you are. I just see God putting you in more situations and opportunities that your voice is going to be amplified. So I just want to continue to sit, whether I'm on the couch or peeking through the window, watching God amplify your voice with the Queen's podcast. You see, I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm repping your
Yes,
brand.
you wear my t-shirt. Listen, we have some guests with us tonight. We have the shift doctor herself, Dr. Joy McLaughlin Harris, saying hello, hello. And so we are saying hello. Thank you for dropping by. It is our 1 year anniversary, and we are excited on the Queen's couch. I'm excited. I'm excited because I've had some amazing guests. I really have had some amazing guests. Some funny moments, some moments where I was like, "Whoa!" I asked some hard questions and some questions that I didn't know that really I would be able to answer. Yes, Joe, we're gonna get you a shirt. We're gonna get
Yes.
you. I didn't really even know that I would be able to do. But it was a journey. It was healing for me to be able to have these conversations and and just helped me as I wrote this devotional. And this devotional is a labor of love. It's telling some stories about me that many people, some people know, my close circle, and some people don't know about me, and it's all surrounding my favorite thing, makeup. I love makeup. If anybody knows me, they know I love me some makeup. I love some eyeshadow, some lipsticks, foundations, eyeliners, lashes. So this book takes a dive into makeup and talks about how we can remove pieces of us to reveal who we really are. Sometimes we put it all on. We put our lashes on and we put our foundation on it. But do we really have the right foundation? Do we have the foundation of Christ? We put our concealer on and we want to conceal things, but some things you need to tell. Some things you need to let go of. You don't need to be filled with shame anymore, regret anymore. It's time to be authentically who you are in Christ. And it's not about telling bearing your whole soul, because I don't feel that you have to bear your whole soul to be authentic. But I feel at the time that God wants you to share something, then you should, because it's the time for people to be able to get what they need. So, a lot of people tell you, she's very transparent. Transparency and authenticity are two different things, because people can be transparent all they want to and tell all of their business, but that still doesn't mean they're being true to themselves. And so that's what I want people to understand, that you still can have a level of privacy, your personal circle. I'm a believer of having an inner circle, just like Jesus. I'm going to have me a group that going to see it all. And then I'm going to have, hey, this is what I want everyone to see. Because sometimes your vulnerability needs to be around people that know you and love you. And sometimes when you're being transparent and sharing everything with the world on these world wide webs, I always call on Beyonce here, internet, and you get hurt because of the comments and because you really wasn't healed. And so you really didn't need to tell that story yet.
Hmm.
And so some of these stories are something. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about everyone that has been sharing in this podcast and sharing in this journey. I hope that my guests get to see me in a different way. A lot of people talk about being healed, but I want them to see me in my whole state. I'm whole in some areas that I really didn't think I would be whole in ever. And so, it's good to be healed, but it's another thing to be whole. And so I hope in season 2, you see the wholeness of who I am. I'm in this coaching class, and one of the things someone said, and it just struck me so hard, and it said, "Are you? Does God have a place in your life or a position?" So when He's positioned in your life, you're gonna do things differently. And so I thought about that all week long, and I don't just want this podcast to be placed at a certain, place in people's lives. I want it to be positioned in a place where you're going to find support, you're going to find help, you're going to see authenticity, you're going to be a space where it's comfortable. Because sometimes people say safe spaces, but I'm learning that what may be safe to me may not be safe to someone else. So I want you to find a comfortable place where you can be yourself, where you can be whole. And so that's what this 1 year is all about, celebrating. There was some times I didn't even want to come on this podcast on a Thursday because life was lifing. But I wanted to show up for everybody else. I wanted to show up to show people what it looks like to show up, what it looks like to keep going in the midst of adversity. And I know, Dr. Cooper, I know just what you can speak on this. You got the book, you have the t-shirt, but let's talk about what does it mean to show up even in the midst of trudging out a path that you don't even know that's here, you know?
Oh, wow. You're definitely in the vein, because one of the workshops that I do, and I know it's turning into, I've already written an ebook about it. I just haven't even released it yet, but it's called The Power in Your Show Up. And so it is so powerful when you push past everything and just show up. And oftentimes we show up and we're feeling a certain type of way because we're showing up for the wrong reasons. We may be
Mhm.
showing up because we feel like somebody is going to be upset with us if we don't make it. We show up because we feel like our face has to be in the room. We show up out of obligation. But when you know that God has placed something on the inside of you, and you know that you are an atmosphere shifter, and you already sought the face of God, and God has told you that that's where you are needing to be, then that's when it becomes necessary. That's when you know that it's not about me, but it's about the God that's in me. And it's about me walking by faith and not by sight. Because by sight, our body can start feeling like there's a pain here or a headache or something came up. But if God is pulling us and calling us to be in certain places, then it is our job to be in that space, because sometimes we are the only God that shows up. Some people don't ever get a chance to see God until they see us. And not that we are God or we are God's, but it is a God that works on the inside of us. And there are people who are lonely. There are people who are broken. They're downtrodden. They are depressed. They are lowly. They are grieving. There are so many people right now in this year of 2025 that are barely making it, but you show up. And when you show up with the kind heart, and you show up with a good spirit, and you show up with the right attitude, regardless of how you felt before you left the house. You understand that the power in your show up is not even your power, but it is the power of God that resides on the inside of you. And when you show up with God's power, it's like that woman with the issue of blood. She knew that she needed a healing. She knew that it
Listen.
didn't matter what anybody thought about her, but she didn't even know if it was going to work or not. So she said, I'm just going to show. I don't even know the man. I heard about the man, but I'm tired of being in the situation that I'm in. And when you get tired of being in the situation that you're in, you're going to press, you're going to pursue, and you're going to push until something happens. And that's exactly what she did. So for me, Dr. Tyniko, my sister coach, every time I felt like I didn't feel like being there. And most of the time, I didn't even know why I didn't feel like it. It was because I was sick in my body and had no idea. But God continued to sustain me. And because I continued to show up, regardless of what they said about me, regardless of how they treated me, regardless of what was going on around me, I knew what was on the inside of me had to be there because somebody in the room needed what I had. And if it was only for one, I was doing it to the glory of God. So when God gets the glory out of my story, then when I see him, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. So whatever your why is, my why is to see God. See, I used to say that my why was for my children. I used to say my why was for my legacy, and they don't even belong to me. God gave me those children. God gave me everything that is in my hands. So if I pursue my passions to make sure that it is perfectively in the position that God has me in so that I can be walking in my purpose, then I know that my daddy is satisfied. That's why I've got to be there. That's why I had to be here. And wherever God leads me from this day forward, I'm showing up. And I'm not showing up in my own flesh, but I'm showing up in the power of God.
Yes, the showing up in the power of God, showing up in who you really are. That's the thing. And I want women to really embrace who they are, not what they do, not how they look, not what they put on, not what they wear, but how they navigate their life free, how they navigate their life, knowing who they are, accepting that, you know what, in this area, I need to work on this area, not covering it up, but getting to the root of it so that you can be whole. And sometimes it's really hard sometimes. And I tell people, being vulnerable is not easy. People shoot that word around like it's some type of little switch you flip on and all of that. It's not easy. It's not um something that just happens. You know, vulnerability takes courage. Vulnerability takes, getting past those fears that you may have. And so sometimes, we say buzzwords and we say that and we say that to women, but I want women to understand what that looks like. And sometimes I've been vulnerable to the point of tears because I did not want to be vulnerable. I did not want to say I needed this help. I did not want to say, man, I'm just messed up. I didn't want to say that because we're taught to put it on. Put it on till you feel better. Girl, you better show up looking good, whether you feel good or not.
Whew.
But at the detriment of what am I going to show up made up and pretending to be someone else and go home at night like I used to do and cry myself to sleep because I felt I didn't have a purpose. I didn't know what God wanted me to do. I would pray for people, they get healed, they get the things that I pray for them for, but I did it for myself and nothing happened
Mm,
because I wasn't believing for me the way I was believing for somebody else.
mm,
And so sometimes that put it on, you got to put it on. Yeah, you do. But what you need to put on is righteousness. You need to put on the whole armor of God.
mm,
You need to put on a new mindset. And sometimes you need to take off some things that you hold near and dear to who your personality, that you think your personality is, but it's really not. the identity that God has for you.
Mm.
Because he created you with great intent. He created you with great things in mind. And when you become someone else because you feel like what he created wasn't good enough, because
Wow.
everything that God made is amazing.
Yes.
It's perfect. And guess what? We sometimes think that it's not good enough, but it is. It is. You are just the way you need to be. And
Wow.
so that's that's what I want people to take away from this season. We're gonna have some serious conversations. So
Woo.
uh
I wanted to ask you when you finally made the decision, because there are a lot of people who think that they want to start a podcast. When you finally made the decision to launch last year, tell me, leading up to it and then afterwards, what were you feeling?
when I said I was gonna start this podcast, I was really in a difficult place, I would say. I was in a place of transition. And so I was to the point where I told God, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it, because I really want to find out who I really am. I'm one of those girls that I'm talkative to Nico. I'm the girl that talked too much without permission, got on a report card, always getting in trouble, always asking 1,000 questions. I'm the one who's gonna ask a question. That's just me growing up. But well, why? And why is this? And I was always getting in trouble. And I was determined to embrace that. And so I had to fight through years of labeling of you talk too much and no one wants to hear you. And so um I was determined to take off what people said about me and embrace the voice that God gave me. And so I had to fight with that. And even when I set a launch date, I was still battling with, okay, is it going to be okay? Is people going to listen to me? Is people going to like the podcast? All of these things were going through my mind. And I had to strip it off and put on a new mindset and see myself in my authentic self, in that talkative person, but I'm a person that has a voice. And I have this voice because God wants me to say some things to people. And so I had to overcome that. And when I did my first podcast, that first day, about a year ago, actually today, I felt great about it. I felt like I had overcome years and years and years of things that people told me I shouldn't do.
Mm.
And I didn't know why I shouldn't talk, why I shouldn't ask questions. Um, it just became the natural part of me. And so it felt really good to overcome an obstacle, to take off a layer that other people put on me, but not what God put on me. So that's what it felt like that first day and leading up to it.
So you know that oftentimes people don't move forward because of the things that have been said to them, said about them, even spoken into their spirit as a child. And when you are a catalyst, when you are a person that you are a front runner and you do what others say they want to do, God can use you in so many different ways. And how do you see? Um, I know you asked me what would I like to see, but I like to hear from you what you would like to see happen with the Queen's Couch podcast for 2025. With everything that's happening in the world, what would you like to see?
Um, I would like to see women come together. Um, Christian women in particular, that they are able to see realness, see what freedom looks like, be able to speak their truth unapologetically. Um, I hope to see that as this podcast progresses in 2025, that we have a community of women, a tribe that support each other, that is there for each other, that even though we met through um, all watching a podcast, that together we can make things happen. We can support one of our sisters. We can support causes. We can come together so that people see that Christian women have a voice, that they have thoughts, and they are able to make impact, not only in the church, but in the marketplace, outside of the church when we come together, and that we can have conversations um, that others may have been fearful to have. I want to be able to have those conversations.
That's
And so that's
amazing.
what I want to say.
Yeah, that's amazing because especially now, there are a lot of women who have joined forces and have come together with so many different reasons for us to separate. Just this last election run with Vice President Kamala, when she was running, there were so many women that joined forces who they probably never would have thought that they would come together. And one thing that I know and believe, what the enemy means for evil, God will turn it around for our good. There were women who were separated and never even thought about joining forces together, but as womanhood, it was for a common cause. But I would like to see not just a cause bring us together, but we come together
Mm-hmm.
because we know that it's right, because we know that that's what God wants, and to
Yes.
see different women from all over. And I know you and I have shared this together. We talk about how we see a sea of women of different races, different backgrounds, different cultural and social statuses coming together and formulating just a tribe of women that's going to be here for the next generation. Because for my heart, I just, I have a heart for the youth. I love God's people, but I have a heart for the youth, especially the teens, because our teens are the ones who are in the ranks to come up to be the next ones in line, to be the generals, to be the captains. Like we're the ones, we're the drill sergeants, we're the captains, we're the generals, but we're going to retire out. And who's going to be next? It's going to be the privates. It's going to be the ones that's up under us. It's going to be the ones that's in basic training. And the basic training that they're getting is what we put in front of them. So to just know that our youth, if something doesn't happen soon, our youth can miss out on what it is that they need to be getting. So I know I can't be all things to all young people, but if I could capture a few along the way, then it's that back to each one reach one. If I could teach 10, they can reach, each one of them reach 10 more, so that we can be able to still see before I leave this earth God's blessings come to pass in the lives of these young people, because all they have are us. We're what they have. Sometimes in schools, sometimes in their homes. They don't have those trusted adults. But God gives us opportunities to be there for our young people. So I would love to see a show with some young people.
Yeah. Now that definitely, because young people do have a voice, and sometimes they're very misunderstood. At times, they want to have their mark. They want to make their mark, and they don't want to. But they want you to be there in their corner, but not take over, but just be there to steer them or push them, that little small nudge in the right way. And so, yes, that's definitely some amazing young women, some that are doing things, because there are some young there are some teenagers, there's that are making impact, that care about their community, that care about what happens to their fellow brothers and sisters, their fellow
Mhm.
teens.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's going to be dynamic. And when we give them a space to amplify their voice, I believe that God is giving us these platforms to pretty much open the door for the next generation. There were some that opened the door for us. There were some that pushed us out of the way. There were some that tried to shut the door in our face, but God protected us through it all. You know, all we know is we have good hearts and we just want to help and we just want to be here because that's how God has designed us. But when you go through and then you grow through, but you don't let it make you bitter, you let it make you better. That's when God can trust you with more. Some people just not out here passing the test. So I do believe these conversations that you're bringing to the couch, where you say, you know, that transparency is one thing, but being transparent plus being authentic, because being yourself is the best thing that you could do for the world right now.
Mhm.
There's so many counterfeits and copycats. It's time for the originals, the original copy, to stand up and be truthful to yourself. Now, that's when you become an influencer. People are out here trying to figure out, how do I become a content creator? How can I become an influencer? By being yourself.
Mhm.
That's what's going to get you to where God needs you to be. Just being yourself. Yeah, I'm
People
looking
want to see
forward.
the real.
Yes.
you know, they
The,
want to they want to hear they want to hear your glory stories, but they also want to hear, how did you get there? What did you do? What steps did you do to make it here? You know, it's good to see to see people here, and you see their bags, and you see they got different things that define who they are. I made it. You know what? I bought my first designer purse, or I bought my first luxury car, or I took my first trip here. But people want to hear how you got there. How did you get from point A to point B? And is it doable? People want to hear, hey, you can do it too. And I think that's what's important. And when you are at a place and you're transitioning, how do you transition? How do you keep going even when things knock the wind out of you? How do you
mm,
pull your how do you get the sail back in your wind when something has knocked the wind out of you?
oof.
The literal wind out of you. People want to know that. People want to know, what steps did you use? What did you do? You know, it's great to say I've been through a lot, but how did you get out? What did you do? What steps did you use? Did you pray? Did you fast? Did you go to counseling? What did you do? And that's what the missing piece is. I call it the step-by-step instructions. How you get this man, you get this. I got this desk. Let me tell y'all, I got the desk that I couldn't put it together. The same, I was about to throw it away. And so when people can't see how to get out of the situation they're in, they throw their hope away. They throw their trust away. They don't believe anymore because they don't believe that they're able to come out of these situations because no one's giving them the step by step. How do I get from point A to point B? Take screw A, put it in C. That's what people want to know, how to navigate their lives. They don't want to see it when it's the finished product. They want to know, how do I do it? How can
Yeah,
I do it?
yes. You're absolutely correct. And being able to, gosh, tell our stories. It's such a joy that you can come out of adversity, and when you get to tell your story, you could do it with a smile on your face. That's when you know that you healed.
Yes.
That you want to know when you healed, when you could talk about a situation and you have a smile on your face, to literally know, like, that's no longer holding me back. No more chains holding me. I'm no longer bound in that situation. That's where the real celebrations come in at. But if that thing is still hurting you, just to think about it, those are areas to get healed in. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing it. People are trying to figure out, why can't I get unstuck? Why am I still in the same position? Because we've got to truly get healed and get free. Like
Mm-hmm.
when the Bible says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed, I believe that's what we're really going to start living, when we get to the free indeed part.
The free indeed,
The
yes.
free indeed. When we get to the free indeed side of it, I believe that's when the
Listen,
joy shows up. That's when the real peace shows up. That's when the happiness shows up. That's when we can show up in power, show up in the power of the Holy Spirit, regardless of who's in the room. The imposter syndrome goes out of the
out the
window.
window.
Yes, I am super excited about it.
Yes, yes. So I am excited that you joined us on the couch tonight. I want to shift a little bit. We talked a little bit about my book, but I want to share it with you all a little bit. So my new book, it is in pre-order right now. You can pre-order my book, and this is called The Makeup Remover. And so it is a devotional. And it's a devotional to help you release the past and embrace your authentic self in Christ. And so this is the book cover. This is one of the journals, one of the devotions, and each devotion is named after a type of makeup, from the concealer to the um, foundation. We have so many different. I have the book actually here in my hand. Contour, the blush, um, the color corrector. What does that look like? The highlighter, the primer, the setting spray, the bronzer, the lipstick. Boy, that chapter is something. Mascara, the powder, eyelashes, and the makeup remover. And so this is my book. This is her. This is my book here. And so I'm excited about it. And these are some. It has questions. Not only that, it has a mirror check, and for you to look in the mirror and see if you've taken off the things that you should be taking off and putting on what you should. And so tonight, for everyone who is on the Queen's Couch, you can purchase this. You can pre-order this book for $15 tonight. And so, and then as soon as my books are here, I will ship them out to you, or I can meet you if you're here locally in Columbia. And I will drop the link for you to be able to purchase the makeup remover pre-orders. And so I'm excited about this book. So I'm definitely, if you would like to order, I'm going to drop the link for everyone here. Um, and yeah, so my book is in pre-order, and we are excited about this devotional. I love devotionals, and so I wanted my first book to be my first solo book to be a devotional. And so I'm excited about I'm definitely ecstatic about this book.
Well, let me be the first to publicly congratulate you. I am so excited for you. I am looking forward to your first book signing. I am looking forward to our celebration. You hear me putting these things out here because they're going to happen. I am looking
Yes.
forward to your book selling off the shelves. I am looking forward to someone picking up your book and using it for a class, for a women's ministry, for a prison ministry, even at beauty schools. I just speak that your book is going to be well sought out, that the production for your book, the sales are going to be faster than the production, that God is literally going to blow on it, and he's going to blow your mind. I'm looking forward to when you have your different cities that you will be going to with your book signings. I'm just ecstatic about what God is going to do, because you know what? You did it, sis. You
Yeah,
did it.
I did it.
Oh my goodness, you did it. And you did not let fear stop you. Although there were times that fear wanted to stop you, that it tried to come in and creep its old ugly head in, whatever it was, God said no. And you pushed past it and you did it.
Thank you. I am excited. I am ecstatic. So again, the link is in the chat, and it's also in the description. If you would like to pre-order my new book, The Makeup Remover, in Releasing the Past and Embracing Your Authentic Self in Christ. And this is a journey to help you um, release fear and to release negative thinking, and to give yourself great positive self talk, and to realize that some of the things that we put them on as our coping mechanisms. But it's time to deal with it and get rid of our coping mechanisms and really be who God called us to be. And so that's why this book is exciting. So it has a devotion. I have prayers. You have a prayer focus for the day. So you can go through the book each day, or you can meditate on each devotion for the week, because some of them, it has some little homework. And so it is in my true educator fashion, I want to make sure that you journal a little bit, you doodle a little bit, because I'm a doodler, but you also have a prayer and some action steps to help you get to the next level as you start on your wholeness journey, as you begin to heal from areas, but you're starting on this journey to be whole. And so I'm excited about it. It is my labor of love. I'm going to show it again. This is my new book, The Makeup Remover, and I am excited about helping women release their past and embrace their authentic self in Christ. And so that's that is that has been it. And so I'm excited about what's gonna happen on the Queen's Couch. This is our anniversary show, and in February we're having a series called Power Couples. It's gonna be all about love and relationships. And I'm excited about it. I have some amazing couples that are coming on, that are going to share their stories. And I'm also going to be doing something a little bit different for this show. I'm going to have links where you can ask some questions of my guests. So I'm going to be dropping the link prior to my guests coming on, and you'll be able to ask some questions if you have questions about relationships, about your marriage, if you're engaged, if you're dating, whatever it is. During this Power Couple series, I pray that your relationships with your husband, your wife, your fiance, your significant other grow, and you all are able to accomplish great things. So that's what's coming up in February for the Queen's Couch.
Wow. I am looking forward to that.
Yes, yes. We have some funny couples. We have some serious, and we have some funny couples. We have some that has a story to tell that can really help us see the power of true love, and commitment in a marriage and a relationship. So I'm excited about it.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. I love seeing couples, especially those that have weathered the test of time. Those are the ones that I like to talk to and be able to glean from, because they can tell you it's not always pretty, but it is definitely worth it. And that's what makes the difference. Anything that's worth having is worth fighting for. And we keep that
Yeah.
to the forefront front, we won't let go of some things or some people so easily. But
Yes.
some of them, you just have to let it go. So we just
Yes.
thank God. We just thank
Yes.
God to know the difference.
The difference between a true relationship and one that's what I call it toxic, you need to let it go. But yes, I'm excited. I love love. I love seeing people in love, but most of all, I love seeing couples work together to accomplish their goals. And um, so as in this power couple series, we're gonna have some real conversations. You know, I read this book by Pastor Jamal Glenn, and it's called Power Couples. And one of the things he says in the book is that people think a power couple is two boss people being the boss at the same time. He said, but what will happen is it'll be an explosion. So when it's a true power couple, you're going to have to see who's going to be out front and who's going to fuel the power so that you both can succeed. And sometimes it might need to be the woman. You might need to support her as you're working on this goal. And sometimes your role in the power couple might be the supporting cast. You might not always be the one out front, but together, because someone is fueling it, it's not two firecrackers exploding, that you do the right thing. So we're going to talk about submission. We're going to talk about egos. We're going to talk about a lot of different
Oh
things
wow, I love
in
that.
this power couple series, because some people think, and even when you say you see, you know, people talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce, but one of them are the supporting role at one time, while the other one out front. Now they
Hmm.
both may be powerful, but they both not coming out with music at the same time. They
No.
both not launching at the same time. So somebody is laying back in the cut, fueling the fire, while the other person is out. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna have some real talk about this power couple.
This is gonna be
And if
good.
y'all know Pastor Jamal Glenn, y'all tell him that him and his wife can be on my podcast. He my brother in my mind.
This is gonna be good.
But yeah, so if you listen, tell him his book is the inspiration for this February podcast. He can surprise me anytime and pop on him and his wife. But listen, I want to thank you so much for helping me to celebrate this 1 year anniversary of the Queen's Couch, Dr. Cooper. You were one of our most loved guests. You got the most ratings out of anybody on our podcast to date.
Wow.
Your podcast series was watched more times, had more likes than any of my other shows. You and one other podcast that y'all were neck and neck. And so she wasn't able to be here tonight because of a prior engagement. But my next biggest podcast was with Janice Green, Coach Janice. And so I love you, Coach Janice. Thank you for rocking with us this year. So I had some amazing guests that rock with me. I had when we had the mental health, that was one of them. Coach Yolanda, Onidia, James. That was an amazing podcast. Every podcast was just amazing. It had its own style, its own unique flavor. And so I want to thank all of my last season guests, but I am looking forward to season 2 and
Yes.
everything we have planned just for you on the couch. So
Oh,
listen, this has been the Queen's Couch. You have been on with Dr. Sanyetta Cooper and Dr. Tyniko Victoria. And I want to tell you that the Queen's Couch is a place where queens collaborate and do not collide. Thank you for rocking with us. Season 2, we are locking in. We are leaning in. Our next show will be February the 13th with our Power Couple series, and we are going to get deep. Are you in a relationship and you want to take your relationship to the next level? You want to be the power couple that you see and the power couple that you imagine? Join us on the Queen's Couch in February, starting on the 13th. I can't wait to see you there. Dr. Cooper, thank you so much for hanging out with me, rocking with me on tonight. And listen, if you would like to get my book, the Makeup Remover, she is in pre-orders. The link is in the description. Is also, I've dropped the link in the chat. Thank you so much for being a part of the Queen's Couch. I love you so much. Have an amazing night, and we'll see you back here February 13th for our Power Couple series. Love you. Have a great one.